So I recently finally watched the anime Keijo. After putting it off for years, I finally watched it mainly because I got it on Blu-ray during Black Friday, but I finally watched it. And I can't lie, it might be one of the greatest sports animes ever. Not just because it shows a whole bunch of ass and all that, but it's mainly because it's a fan service sports anime, but it mixes it and blends it well that you would actually be engaged in this sport. Now, if you don't know what the sport of Keijo is, let's talk about it. Now, in this sport, they have girls and they're inside this ring that's inside on a pool and all that, and they wear swimsuit stuff like that, whatever. And the goal is basically you have to use your upper body and your lower body to knock the other person out. But the kicker is you can't use your arms or you can't like use your legs to kick people out. You just have to use your lower and upper body, if you know what I'm implying, because this app doesn't like me saying what the actual body parts are because this app. But yes, you have to use those to knock the person out, and throughout this anime there's a lot of special attacks they use, and some of them are wild and crazy, because trust me, some of the attacks they use that they give their bottoms, some of the attacks they associate with their bottoms and upper body is kind of very wild, and like there's some of them are very interesting. But I really just like how this anime doesn't really take itself super serious and over the top when it comes to like, cause you know some sports anime they try and go over the top with it, where this one is just like, yeah, we're showing you what we're about. Here we're gonna give you some attacks and we're gonna like do something to make you interested in it. And like I said, them showing, you know, all the stuff on the screen and everybody is thick is another thing, and everybody's adults in this anime too. But let's get into what the plot of this actual anime is about, because it's a very interesting one. It's only 12 or 13 episodes, sadly. I wish we could get a season 2. I mean, it's kind of possible to get a season 2, even though the manga's not going on no more, so like it's probably not possible we can get a season 2. But I mean, I think there's enough chapters at least get a few OVAs or something along them lines. I don't remember exactly, but let's get into the actual plot of Keijo, because it is a very interesting plot. Now, Keijo is an anime about this girl named Nozomi, and she wants to become a professional Keijo player so that she can basically be the prize queen. And the prize queen is like a Keijo professional player who like makes the most money because she wants that money. The manga kind of explains like why she wants all this money and all that, where the anime doesn't really go into detail for that. But she applies to this training school with her friend Sayaka, and like they train, and like we get to see a little bit of that because like the first little short arc is just like them doing the exam, and they have exam 1 and exam 2. Like we get like a little flashback about that. So we get there, and she gets to this school, and like you have all these players that are just like kind of infatuated with her. Like they see her because like there's somebody that was like in the exam 2 with her that like they literally battled against each other, and like she likes her. And then she introduces her to this girl named Mio, and like those two, they're literally in the elite class, while Nozomi and Sayaka, they literally are in the regular class, so they didn't get to join the elite class just yet. And like the school has two differences, where like the elite class are like the players that are more than likely like all the good players of the school and all the ones that can get sent out to tournaments, stuff like that, where the regulars are just, they're doing some of the basic stuff, while elite players are, they're like studying to do all the like advanced stuff that you need to know that you can become a professional Keijo player. So you have that, and you have all these people that are kind of like coming to her and like that. And then like as the anime goes on, we learn that her and Sayaka, they got put into room 309, and it's the one room that like it's always like vacant, because like all the people that come in that room, they eventually they get thrown out, or like they give up because like something's like way too hard. So like I said, the first arc is just us getting introduced to all the characters and learning about some of them abilities and stuff like that. It's really the second arc which is really good, which is the class exchange, which in my opinion is like one of the more better arcs, especially because it starts the series. It gives us, like I said, it's only 12 to 13 episodes, but like we get many arcs in it, of course. But this is one of the more better arcs, because the class exchange gives the regular players a chance to become elite players, because like literally what they do is they have one elite player versus 3 regular players, and if you can beat them, you basically get put into the elite class. So like that happens. So we see a lot of interesting techniques, and this is where we get introduced to Mio, who's like the blonde haired girl that we see early on, and we learn that she's hella OP. She does a move where she hypnotizes people with her front of her body, would say that she hypnotizes them, and it basically, yeah, it's a very broken ability, and she's very broken throughout the whole anime. When we see her, she barely uses like any of her like abilities. Like she uses like stuff like super easy, and it's always just like easy to her because one, she's a prodigy and all this type of stuff. But like it's kind of wild because like how broken she is. Like she'll have, I wish we could have seen her go all out, but sadly we didn't in the anime. Maybe the manga we might have saw a little bit. But yeah, we have the exchange, and that's when we get to see Nozomi unleash a certain attack that she learns that I'll get into detail later that she does on accident. And then we also learn about another girl that has a different ability, which is kind of wild. And also we see Sayaka show off her skills. We see all the girls that are in a room because like you have Nozomi, Sayaka, you have Alba, and then like this one other girl. And like they basically get to all show off their abilities, and eventually they do get put into elite class. And after that we have a training arc, which is a pretty good arc because like we get to see Nozomi actually have to grind and to get better because one, she doesn't want to be stuck using the one ability that she has, and she needs to use other abilities too, so she has to grind. And in the training arc they actually train with professional Keijo players, so that's one of the good things about it. And we get to see how the one professional player takes a liking to Nozomi because everybody basically likes Nozomi because like she's very unique and she's a very unique player and all that. And we get that training little arc, which is kind of nice, and we get to see Nozomi and all the other characters like get some of their abilities and level up and all that, and see some wild stuff and some wild training. Because trust me, the stuff they do with their bottoms is kind of nuts. It's like, how can you block all this just through all this training? Just know they have some very strong hip muscles in this anime. I'll just say that. The final arc of the whole anime is the East versus West, and basically what the East versus the West is a tournament between these two schools, because you have two schools which are the Keijo schools, and like you have Nozomi school and then you have the other school, and like it's basically them fighting each other. And we get to see a lot of like crazy abilities, and we get to see like, especially the characters we've been following, we get to see their growth in this final thing, and they show us a lot of crazy wacky abilities. Because trust me, there's some abilities that are shown that are kind of nuts, and you're like, what is this? Like and just know some of these characters and some of the moves they move, they're going so damn fast too. And like it's funny just seeing like, oh, this is what I wonder what they actually look like in if we're actually in the anime world. What would these attacks actually look like? Similar to something like Demon Slayer, where you know like all the water attacks and all that we see in Demon Slayer, those are like really just shown off to us while we're watching the anime, but in their actual world it does not show that shit. So I'm wondering like what these attacks look like it's through the people that are watching it there, like in the anime world or whatever, because some of these attacks are damn wild, and some of the way they be moving is nuts. Because trust me, some of these abilities are nuts. But let's get into these abilities. Just know I'm gonna be watching how I say these, because you know this app basically takes away free speech if you actually think about it, because if you say certain words they're gonna limit you or sometimes even block you and other type of stuff, whatever. But let's get into some of these attacks, because some of these attacks are kind of wild, and get to some of people's abilities and stuff like that. So the first one we have is Nozomi, and she has the vacuum butt cannon. Yes. And this is a broken ability, and like she has to, and this is an ability that can basically injure you and make it that you could basically almost never walk in a way, or just like you can basically barely move in a way because of how bad it can injure you. But Nozomi's gonna eventually master it. But basically what this is, it requires a whole bunch of buildup, and like you're spinning around and a whole bunch of rapid and violent twists of the hips, and you once fully charged, it unleashes a powerful shockwave. And it's capable of basically shredding whatever swimsuit the person is wearing. Just know it's a very crazy attack. When she first did it, it was kind of nuts. Everybody was like, oh, what did she do? So the next character is Rin, and she has super speed and extraordinary lung capacity. And it just means that she can hold her breath way longer than somebody else, especially if she's fighting somebody that has the same speed as her. And the one person that she does this against is Sayaka, because like they're fighting each other and they have about the same speed. But she's able to basically do all these attacks while Sayaka has to take breaths and all that. Now, next one is Sayaka. And she has K acceleration, full purge, which is when she pulls her swimsuit so hard that it rips off and it makes her super fast. And in this mode, she is just nuts and crazy. She does this in the final tournament. And we have Kotoron. Her ability is Cerberus, which allows her to basically hunt her opponents, and it's nuts. Just know her bottom basically becomes like it looks like a Cerberus, so like, you know, from Greek mythology, kind of looks like that, and she just can like seek people and hunt them. Like, that's kind of nuts. Now, the next one is Hanabi. Her ability is basically fatality attacks, which she goes after weak points, and like she's super crazy when it comes in weak points. When she gets in her zone, she becomes one of them crazy looking girls. Next one is Seiya, and she's a samurai, and one of her abilities is Samurai something with a B, drawing quick draw something with a B sword. And just know, like I told you, you only can use your upper body and lower body, so you can guess what she might use as a sword. If you know, you know, just saying, something that can become sharp, we could say, and it could cut something because of how hard the object can get. We're just say that, something along them lines, and it's on the upper body. We're just say that's what she does, and I'm not going into detail because this app. But next one is Alba, who has two abilities, and her abilities are nuts because one of them is a reference to another anime. But the first ability is Scanning Hand, which allows her to like sense the movement in the air, and like when she touches somebody, she can basically read all their abilities and kind of take their abilities. Now the next one is the most interesting ability, and it's the wildest one, and basically what it is. It's the Hips of Babylon. And the attack is basically her stockpiling a whole bunch of abilities that she's taken from other people. And the way she does this is, if you've ever seen Fates, you know Gilgamesh. You know how he has all them swords and weapons that appear like out of thin air when like he activates his power. That's what she does, but it's a whole bunch of butts in the air. Yeah, and she can basically swap and just choose power, just like how Gilgamesh can grab different weapons just like that. That's what her ability is, and it's nuts, because like when it comes out of nowhere, you're not expecting it, because I've always seen like clips of this, but I never knew when it was coming. But when it happens, you're just like, wow, and like, bro, they're just there. It's kind of nuts, though. But that's another thing about this anime is like it makes a lot of references to other animes too, and I really mess with that too. And the last one is the character has an ability called the Incredible Soft Buns. Yeah, there's that one too. Like I said, there's a lot of other abilities too. Like I think somebody has like iron buns where like their bottom becomes like iron. So like it's super hard or whatever. So like I said, there's a lot of different crazy abilities in here, but I just really like how they go into detail with some of these abilities, or just like how outlandish these abilities are. And like I said, if this was a real sport, like I mean a sport that was in the Olympics, just know everybody would be tuning into this sport, because like it's kind of crazy. Just say it. It is kind of hella crazy. But like I said, Keijo is a phenomenal anime. I wish it could get another season, but sadly it probably won't, since the manga kind of got discontinued. But I think there still is enough chapters where they could technically make at least some more episodes, but they probably won't, because like I said, it's not a manga that's finished. It got discontinued and canceled and all that, sadly, even though this is an amazing concept. Like I said, this is how you mix fan service and sports anime amazingly. Yes, there are other ones, like I know, what is that like called, The World's Strongest, which is like the wrestling one. Yes, you have that one too. Yes, you do technically have Food Wars, which is technically a sports anime because competition and all that. But, you know, if you know, you know. But yes, I love Keijo. Hilarious anime. I love just how intense it is with the sport, because like they show you how hard this sport can actually be. I really do wish we could have got some more, because at the end when they become professional, they show a whole bunch of different casts of people, and I'm like, bro, I can't wait to see what they can do. But sadly we won't. But yes, if you've seen Keijo, please let me know how you feel about it. If you've not seen it, please check it out, because trust me, you're missing out. Like I said, fan service and sports mixed together perfectly. And like I said, if you want to see some, you know, lower body action and thickness, then trust me, you will enjoy this anime, because woo, it is nuts. And Nozomi as a main character is actually really good, because like I said, she's just about that money. She does not care about nothing else. She just wants to be one of the greatest, that she can get that money. We all can relate to that. We all want that money. Just saying, she wants to, you know, get that prize money. She wants to be the prize queen, that she can rack in as much money as she wants, and she's always grinding. Yes, she is kind of a prodigy, but at the same time, not really, because you have Mio, who is really a prodigy. Mio, she is nuts. I wish we could have seen her full power, though. If you're new, why not subscribe? Enjoy the video. Why not like? If you did, you could dislike, subscribe. Really enjoyed. But yes, if you've seen Keijo, please let me know how you feel about it. If you've not seen it, you should check it out, because like I said, there's a lot of reasons why you will probably like this anime. But like I said, in my opinion, it's one of the greatest sports anime of all time, because it does fan service and sports, and they mix it amazingly. It's not no super over-the-top shit like how some sports anime is. It's quick and to the point. We get a few arcs. We see some training. We get into like tournaments and stuff like that. It's quick and fast, but it's really good. And like I said, some of the attacks are ridiculous, but at the same time, you'd be like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Because like when you see them in action, you're kind of like, damn. But yeah, thank you for watching. See you next video though. Bye.